a phone call all of a sudden that you lost a six-figure job doesn't sting as bad when you look around and you go, well, my son could have died last week. That's okay. Perspective, right? We'll go find another six-figure job.
Hey, friends. So, one of the things that we refer to in this piece is a surprise that Jacob has upcoming. Well, that surprise is that he just appeared on Shark Tank on March 14th. So, be sure to check out his episode wherever you consume your ABC content. Thanks. Welcome back to Service First. I'm Ben Wiggins on behalf of Proclaim, and I'm here with Jacob Robinson. Jacob, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
It is my pleasure, truly. So let's start with the icebreaker. What is the worst service failure that you have ever seen?
Oh man, there are probably unfortunately a few that pop in mind. I think the one that stands out to me is probably because I experienced it recently. So a couple years ago, I think probably 2022, we got my wife a new car. It was a used car, but new for us. And the dealership here in town prides itself on service, right? And I use quotes around that. And we have had three issues, same issue, three times in a row. And what happens is the battery drains, and it leaves my wife or us stranded somewhere. If we have to get the car towed to the dealership, they fix it, whatever. We're back at it every time I go in, it is below the standard of just basic customer service, right? Like no apology, no loaner car, no, hey, we're gonna help you out here. Hey, we're gonna figure this out. And it drives me crazy every single time. I think if like the third time that this happened and our car got stranded at church for a day and I had to borrow a friend's car to take my whole family home. I think at that point I thought I was going to lose it. I think the next day when we interacted and no empathy, no care, no apology, no, hey, we've got to figure this out. We keep leaving your family stranded. No, just like basic fundamental answer. It makes me, well, I was going to say makes me want to pull my hair out, but that'd be highly ironic. But it drives me crazy. And so for me, I always say about customer service, man, unfortunately the bar is so low. I just need you to take a step and you're going to achieve decent customer service. These guys not even going to take a step. They're not even walking. So it will be the last car that we ever buy from that dealership. That is for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And what I hear there is a failure of leadership to involve, to involve the people and say, hey, look, like this is the standard we expect. Like this is, that this sort of problem starts at the top. Um, I'm kind of at a loss for words, which is not a place I find myself very often. But did you get a sense when you were at the dealership of what might have led to this lack of engagement, like this lack of service? Yes, it's clearly a service failure, but also it feels like a human failure. Like, a family gets stranded. To me, like I kind of want to do something about that. I don't even want to. I don't even work at the car dealership. But so what led to this? Do you have any idea?
Yeah. Yeah, I think unfortunately, the answer is simple, right? And the reason I know this is because some of our best friends, they bought a new car from that same dealership, and he would tell you polar opposite stories than what I'm telling you about his experience there. And so what happens is something that happens in service, sometimes accidentally, sometimes intentionally. People get broken out into different groups of people, right? Different groups of customers. I bought a used car. The dealership does not make as much money from me, especially on repairs and services and things like that, versus buying a new car. My buddy who bought a new car gets world class service. Over here, it's the other group, and I think what happens is a lot of times, like I said, intentionally or accidentally, we do that. We accidentally instill that in our team members, and then what happens is we've got different groups of customers that we treat differently. And it a lot of times, obviously, most of the time it boils down to money, right? Which is a terrible reason, right? People are people. If we can just stop there, right? That's the answer. Doesn't matter if you're paying me $1,000 or you're paying me $1. I should treat you the exact same way. But I think this is a perfect example of where. Uh, Dollars drive the level of service you get, versus you just get good service, right? And so I think that that's probably the breakdown at this specific location of this dealer is I think the group breaks people down into different categories depending upon the dollar sign.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunate. Let's talk about you for a minute. What drove you into entrepreneurship? What drove you away from real jobs, as we like to
Yeah.
joke about in the
Yeah.
entrepreneurial community?
Yeah, that's right. I think the answer is twofold. The real honest answer at first is I was really bad at those real jobs. I was terrible at them. And so I think you can ask my former bosses, you can ask my former colleagues. Like I was just probably bad at it. And I think the reason I was bad at it, one, some of the roles that I took, but two, really finding. Um, I feel like what I've learned on later in life is I'm good at taking things from zero to one, right? Taking an idea from nothing, trying to turn it into something. I think a lot of the roles that we're in were either maintaining roles, or it was just, hey, do X's and O's, right? And those are okay. Those are great. I think the way my brain is wired, I need to take something from nothing and turn it into the beginning stages of something. And so that was probably always percolating in the back of my mind. I tell people all the time, this world of entrepreneurship, I've gotten to accidentally ride the wave of. When I came out of college, or maybe I just didn't know it, it really wasn't this like big booming, go be an entrepreneur, go do this. I really didn't, honestly, I didn't know what that was. I'm not sure I knew that term. And so 2015 comes along. I start my first company. And the reason I started that first company is a guy forced me into starting the company. A mentor of mine, friend, first investor, first guy that believed in me, first guy that said, hey, listen, you need to quit that over there and you need to come start this. And I believe in you to start it. Go start it. And so I always tell people Mark Toon forced me into this world of entrepreneurship. I have decided to stay. I've decided that I love it. I've decided that I'm half decent at it sometimes. But because of Mark Toon's urging at a seafood restaurant is the reason that I'm in this entrepreneurial space and I quit the real jobs to do, like my buddy said the other day, he looked at me dead in the face. He goes, listen, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I have no idea what you do for a living. He's like, man, it's all over the place. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's it. So I live in this very gray area.
And how did you come into that conversation when Mark Toon nudged you into entrepreneurship? Like, were you about to get fired? Had you just been fired? Were you mad at a job and considering leaving? Like, what mental space were you in right then?
Yeah, it's funny. I think, fortunately, all the opposites of that. Fortunately, I think I was actually doing really well at that job. I was hitting all my sales goals. I was the top of whatever, and really, when Mark approached me about it, the answer was no. The answer was no because I had just figured out the job that I was currently in. I was finally seeing success. I was finally making money. So it was an adamant no, dude, not doing that. We were also about to have our first child a couple months later. I was like, that just honestly, that sounds like a stupid idea. Leaving a month before you have your first kid and go start something that you have no idea how to do it. And so Mark kept urging me to talk to Melissa, my wife, about it. And we went to dinner one night. I always tell people, as a good husband, I knew she would say no because she's risk adverse, CPA kind of deal. And so I was just going to blame her, is ultimately what it came down to, right? I was going to be able to look Mark in the eye and say, listen, I wanted to do it, but Melissa said no, right? Like, just
Yeah.
as any good husband would do.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so we go to dinner. She's 8 months
Clip it,
pregnant.
boys. Blame your wife.
That's it. That's it. That's the advice you need to take from me today. Whatever you can do, blame your wife.
Perfect. All
And
right, we
so
can cut there. That's the end of the show.
that's the LinkedIn soundbite right there.
Yes. Yes.
I can just see the words like popping up above my head. Um,
This
but
try this
we
one weird trick. Marriage
That's right. That's
counselors
right.
hate
You want
him.
to, yeah, Jacob's advice: blame your wife. But so we go to dinner at a pizza place here in Houston, and I said, "Hey, listen, Mark's got this crazy idea. He thinks I should go start this company." And dadgummit, she looked right back at me and goes, "Yeah, I think you should." And all my excuses went out the window. All my plans went out the window. And so I said, "Okay." let's do this thing. And so my son was born on May 26, 2015. We started our first company on June 1st of 2015. As soon as we got home from the hospital, in our tiny little rent house, I was in the back closet trying to shut the door, making phone calls, acting like I was in an office. So nobody could hear a baby crying in the next room. So we started literally in our little rent house back in 2015.
Yep. Um, and then what was the moment that you knew, all right, this is going to work?
Um, we started the company 9 years ago. We sold it a couple months ago, and I think that's probably the day I was like, "Yeah, it worked." Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
but
Oh man.
so
Yes.
there, there's like, and whenever we start a business, there's like, I think Monday through Friday, you're like probably in your mind mentally close the business down like 6 times because you're like, this is not going to work, and then a phone call comes in, you're like, oh no, it's totally going to work, right? And you just ride these waves of being an entrepreneur. No, I knew we had something at the beginning. So we were a commercial cleaning company at its core, but we focused in the construction space. So we were doing final cleans on big construction projects. And so we knew it was always going to work because the immediate demand we had when we had such fast growth, and we had some great sales guys, we had a great team member, we were performing. I think I learned a good lesson early on that not all revenue is good revenue. Just to hit a high sales number doesn't really mean anything if you don't know how to make money off of those sales numbers. And so learn that lesson early on. And so I think we always knew we had something. We just had to figure out how to make that thing work and hum on all cylinders. And that took us a few years to figure out. And then we finally got our footing and figured it out from there. But the belief of our investors behind us saying, hey, no, 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 we're doing something right here. We just got to figure out a couple other things to it. So we were blessed that we had immediate success as far as revenue from day one. Operating and performing was always the question mark. And so we knew if we could get the right people on the team, we would be able to do it. And man, we were very fortunate. We had such good people that led that company and ran that company for 9 years. Some of them were with me all 9 years. And so it was a crazy, crazy run.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the hardest thing for you to read or hear as a business owner? And we'll get to Dig World. I want to hear about that part of the journey too. But what was the hardest moment for you as a business owner?
Yeah, I think One Stone in particularly, our cleaning company was named One Stone. Dig World, totally different answer. Unfortunately, Dig World, that's an extremely easy answer. There were many hard and crazy days. One Stone for me. So we started the company in 2015. In 2017, my son that I mentioned, that was born in May, he was almost 2 years old. He contracted bacterial meningitis, and we were in the hospital 75 days with him. We should have lost him. He was he was in a coma 12 of those days, and it left him. He's mentally handicapped, he's nonverbal, he's epileptic, he's in a wheelchair, he's deaf in both ears. And it turned our life upside down. And I was, man, I am so blessed that we had a team. I had investors, I had people that came alongside of us and said, hey, listen, you focus on family, we'll run the company. And they did. I didn't really work for 75 days. I was able to stay at the hospital. And so I think in that moment, that changed everything, right? Like that changed everything about everything. I tell people that there's a lot of people have, and rightfully so, markers in their life of like pre-COVID and post-COVID. Totally understandable. The markers in my life are pre-Pierce getting sick and post-Pierce getting sick. And for me, everything changed. How I ran a business changed. How I led people changed. How I thought about money changed. How I thought about, good days and bad days at the office. Listen, I always tell people, a phone call all of a sudden that you lost a six-figure job doesn't sting as bad when you look around and you go, well, my son could have died last week. That's okay. Perspective, right? We'll go find another six-figure job. And so everything about everything changed. And so I think those moments were so hard because everything got turned upside down. My life got turned upside down. Everything did, and translating that into how I was going to run a business now also changed. And so those were so really hard times. But I look now at who I am now compared to pre, and I always tell people all the time, I need to probably apologize to those people that worked with me before Pierce got sick. I don't ever think I was like a harsh dictator leader. I don't think that was ever my nature, but I know I was probably really uptight. And I probably, was really frustrated when we didn't win an account. Or I wanted to, grow. And now it's okay, cool. And we live, we learn, and we move on. And so, those were really, really hard days during the One Stone era for sure.
Yeah. So then bring us to Dig World, if you would, to talk a little bit about how your story with Pierce inspired Dig World.
Yeah. So Pierce, my son, has always loved construction equipment, garbage trucks, dump trucks, really anything. We still on Saturday coming up, we will be outside right here, waiting on the garbage men to arrive, and he will be out there to greet them. And I selfishly, or excuse me, arrogantly believe it's the best part of their day, but it's definitely the best part of his day for sure. But always loved construction equipment as well. And so we had this crazy idea to let's build a theme park where we let kids and adults operate real construction equipment. And yes, it is just as crazy as it sounds. It was pitched just as crazy as it sounds. And we were just arrogant enough to think that we could do it. And so my business partner and I set out in 2019 to create what is now Dig World, our construction theme park here in Katy, Texas. We opened the gates in March of 2022, which I'll go back in a second and talk about how that was equally like the worst day ever. We opened on March 17th, 2022, and we're rocking and rolling. And since then, we've tens of thousands of guests have come to the park. We've hosted, I think last time we counted, over 500 birthday parties, maybe. We've seen people from all around the world come. We've been on different TV shows, and it's just been crazy. It's been so much fun. And now we're in the middle of we're franchising. Our first franchise will be opening later this year in 2025 in Dallas, and so we're selling
Congratulations.
franchises across the country. Thank you. So it's been an amazing. So I'm in the theme park space. So when people ask me now, what do you do? The answer is, well, I'm in the theme park space. So I run a theme park here, and hopefully we're about to, like I said, grow them across the country. But before Dig World was Dig World, as people know it now, and you walk in, you have a great time and a great experience. Man, the single hardest day of my work life so far was our grand opening day, which should be like the greatest day ever. But it was easily the worst day ever. So mistakes on my end. We forced the grand opening about 48 hours too early, and we opened, and we were flooded with guests, which were amazing. But not all of our machines were operable yet. And because I arrogantly thought it'll be fine, don't worry about it, we just need to get the gates open, we need to let people come.
A
It
lot of
created a
entrepreneurs would do things the
miserable,
same way.
yes, and it created a miserable customer service experience.
Uh,
We love, if you're waiting in line, we try not to make you wait in line more than 10 to 12 minutes at our
okay.
park. We got little kids, and we're trying to get you through the lines.
Sure.
I think the average wait that day was like an hour 20, and we are no Disney. I'll tell you that much. So it's not comparable there. And so people just, man, they just were so angry, 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 angry. And so we made the decision that night to just shut the park down. We were supposed to be open for 4 straight days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We just decided to close it down until we could get things rocking and rolling again. And we opened up the next weekend. But between that day and the next weekend, the amount of articles that were written about us that Dig World had closed down were insane. So every news outlet wrote an article. I always tell people this is how it went. Every news article wrote an article about Dig World's grand opening. All those wrote an article about Dig World's grand closing. Nobody wrote an article about the grand reopening. And so there are still people. I walked into a store, golly, not 2 months ago. I was wearing a Dig World shirt, and the guy goes, "Man, it's such a shame you guys had to shut down." I said, man, we've been open for 3 years. So we are still we are still fighting this battle where people think that we are permanently closed down because that's what everybody heard. And so that night was, I mean, that week was miserable. I had to be interviewed on local news, apologizing to kids, apologizing to parents. I mean, it was just awful. And so I tell people, as I continue in this theme park space, whenever I get to keynote somewhere, nobody gets to open up with, I had a grand opening and a grand closing in the exact same day. So I get that badge of honor that hopefully nobody ever gets, but that is mine. So that was definitely the worst day. You work so hard to open something, man. You work for 3+ years believing in this dream, and you're going around, you're the crazy guy. I tell people we pitched 248 investors that all said no. before we got our first yeses. And so, man, it wears on you. And then you finally get there, and here it is. It's the day, and it just goes horrible. And so, how do you recover? How do you to reel back from that? How do you love on customers? How do you say I'm sorry? All those things we learned super early and super fast.
Yeah. How did you say I'm sorry? That what does that look like
Yeah.
when you're trying to help someone get to a place where they're like where they'll give you an opportunity to win back their trust? What did you
Yeah.
do?
No, don't make excuses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think for us, we just didn't make excuses. We just said, hey, listen, we were wrong. We opened too early. Sorry about that. Like, you're right. Super frustrating. You're right. Here's your money back. You're right. I think a lot of companies fail when they go, yeah, but, right? Yeah, but. No, it's 100% on us. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you can't make that up. Like, I can't make up an excuse to like, hey, well, if you go to this theme park, you're going to be waiting 45 minutes. No, no. We failed. So I'm gonna start there. I'm just gonna say I'm sorry, and then we can go from there, right? Whether we need to literally give you money back, whether we want to give you tickets to come back, however we can try to right the ship. But it first starts with I'm sorry, and you are right. You have every right to be frustrated. I'd be frustrated. I'm frustrated for you, and you really meet them there. You listen, try to figure out why they're angry. And a lot of times these people were angry because they drove for hours. And man, I'm so sorry. What can we do to make this right? And so I think a lot of companies just don't say I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's flip it around. The service action you were proudest of from a coworker or a team member, like what was the moment that you were like, man, if everybody does that, we will
Yeah,
win.
yeah. Yeah, I've got the world's best general manager. She's been with us since day one.
Yeah.
Um, and her and I have the same heartbeat, same passion for hospitality, and we've gotten to a good rhythm now. Where I think early on, I think she was trying to do the right thing and call the boss and say, "Hey, can I do this?" And now we just do it, right? Just do the right thing, right? We had a side tangent real quick before I tell the main story. We had a one of our up and comer employees the other day. We had he had an interaction with a customer where he was frustrating the customer and he was trying to talk to the customer about what was right, blah 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 blah. And the customer said, well, I just saw the owner walk by. Can I talk to the owner? And start referring to me. I come back out there and I do the complete opposite of what our kid was doing. Now, by the book, our kid was trying to do the right thing and get the money. That's what he was focused on. I come out there, swap it, hey, and I completely change it. And I go, hey, listen, you could have asked me, you could have asked Amanda. We're gonna do the exact same thing. I love you, but you handle this completely incorrect. And here's the deal, because we at the end of the day, we're gonna let the customer win, right? And that was like a non-negotiable for me, right? The customer's going to win here. This is an easy one, layup, slam dunk. And so Amanda and I, we think the same. So I see every now and then I'll jump into our info email account that customers just emailing and see what's going on. And I saw this one that was just like almost like you could see the person's gratitude of tears in the email, and you're like, what just happened? And so I do some digging around. Well, these people were they were going to come in town, I think from Kansas or something, and the kids were super excited. Three kids, super excited about visiting the park. And since then, Amanda's done this multiple times since then. But the mom emailed, hey, I'm so sorry we can't come now. My husband broke both of his arms. We can't travel, and it's just going to be, it's really tough for us. And so she took it upon herself to not only obviously refund the tickets, no brainer, refund the tickets, but she went up to the office and got what we call a Dig World goodie bag, a backpack, hard hat, vest, mailed that to the family, three of them, and sent $100 DoorDash gift card to the mom and said, hey, listen, I know life's chaotic right now. Go buy dinner on us. And that just, I mean, blew me away thinking outside the box of that mom. I mean, that email, I'll never forget that email from her. Like I said, you could read the tears of gratitude of her just going, first off, all I was asking for is just refund my tickets. Or really, all she was asking for is can I just like schedule them in the future, right? Sure, easy. We're gonna meet that bar, no brainer, right? Second, I'm gonna mail you your kids vest, hard hats, and a backpack to get them excited about when they're coming back. And then, oh, by the way, dinner's on us tonight. And this is they're in Kansas, right? And so, man, I just can't like stuff like that. I will never. It brings tears to my eyes. I'll never be able to say thank you enough to our team. I'll never be able to just be able to reciprocate how much that means to me that we love on people that way. And so that was one of the moments that like has always stood out in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That does my heart good, man. Thank you for telling that story. And then, like, let's talk about the triumphs. It can be challenging to share these moments. A lot of times it happens, by yourself in your office, or when you hang up the phone or you read an email. And this email probably, the one you just talked about, that was sounds like a moment of triumph for sure. But there's something that was a little bit more of an exclamation point, that was, where you hung up the phone and jumped in the air, or like laughed out loud to yourself as you were like, "It's working."
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that? What was that best moment for you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna do something really annoying, because I'm gonna answer your question but not give you great detail to the answer. And the reason is because an entrepreneur, a lot of times you live in this NDA world, where you can't say anything fun or exciting that's going on until it goes on, right? But we had two things happen to us last year, that will come out here very shortly. So stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram and emails and all that kind of stuff. Stay tuned. But there are two things that we've had to keep private for the past year, and only a handful of people know what's been going on. And it's one of those that it quite literally change your life. It's one of those that quite literally, you never think you're going to be in those positions. The deals that we've been able to negotiate and strike, boggle my mind. I, my faith is super important to me, and so I believe that God's hand has always been on this business, even when I've not understood it. Because for some reason, from 2019 on, He wouldn't let me let it go. And these things that have happened over the past couple of years that will soon be out in public, no way I could dream them up, right? The beauty of these things that have happened over the last year, the beauty of it is nothing has happened because I did something strategic or awesome. It is because we have just kept doing what we're doing, and I believe the Lord's had His hand on this business. But these things that have happened, you sit back and you go, "Is this fake?" Like it's one of those where you literally read an email and you're like, this might be a joke, right? Like there's no way these things are happening to us right now, and so I'm super excited about them. They're going to come out in the next few weeks, the next few months, so stay tuned. But I would say those moments, and when they do, you're going to go, "Ah, I think that was it." But man, it's been one of those laughable. I mean, I would literally last night I told my wife, I was like, "Can you believe?" Like this is crazy. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all that this is happening to us. And so there are those moments. There's a lot of those moments, right? And there's a lot of those moments as an entrepreneur. So I'm going to speak to those entrepreneurs real quick, where you try, you've been fighting this battle so hard, whatever it may be, whether to get an account, get a new, whatever it is, and you finally get it, and you go out and you tell anybody, and they don't care, they don't get it, right? Like that,
They're like, "Oh
because
yeah, sounds
you
nice."
are the only one. Oh, cool. Congrats, man. You're like,
Yeah,
no, I gave 8 months of my life
you
to
don't
that, right? Like,
understand.
like you have no idea how that could change everything. And so I want to speak to you right now. I see you, I hear you, I'm pumped for you. I'm excited for you. Know that there's other people that out there that get it, and to the world it may seem super minor, but to you it's a major mover in the company. Props to you. Keep working. Keep grinding. You're gonna do it. I'm super excited for you. So those that out there that needed that today, I'm pumped for you.
What was the most? Okay, so you don't have to say what the things were. We'll find out soon
Okay,
enough. But what was
that's
the
right.
most? What was the most ridiculous reaction that you had privately, either to a piece of news, or you stepped away from something and got by yourself, and then you did like a Street Fighter 2 like dragon punch in the air. Like, what was the most ridiculous thing that you did?
Oh man, I think both of these things, same thing. I work from home most of the time.
Yeah.
And during the day, at some point during midday, I will do a walk to my mailbox. So we have like a communal mailbox. I don't get to like walk right outside my door. So I'll walk around the neighborhood to my mailbox. And that's a lot of like my thinking time, talking to Jesus time, whatever it may be. Both of those times, I quite literally it was double arms in the air, Rocky style, crying. It was one of those because you're just like, man, I don't get it, right? But it's literally AirPods in. If you drove by, you're like, I don't know what they got to do and what he's
It's
pumped about,
the
but man, he's
crazy guy
pumped,
again, honey.
and he's crying, all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so it would both times that reaction, because I couldn't think of anything other to do than that.
Man, I see you. I see you. Entrepreneurship is a career of extremes for sure.
Yes,
The
yes.
highs are so high and the lows can be so low. You mentioned the Instagram earlier, and I'll give you we'll plug the accounts before we're done, and talk about how our viewership can keep up with you. But so you and I are both, we both got our businesses are active on socials. Who do you who's doing something that you don't like to see? And you don't have to name names. Like what, who do you have a bone to pick with? What are the trends that you don't like aside from AI, emails, promising to fill up your calendar with appointments? But besides that, like what are the trends that make you nervous or even upset?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to kind of bounce out of like small businesses, right? And I'm going to pick a bone. Um, with something, honestly, it breaks my heart. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. It breaks my heart. So, like I mentioned, Pierce has severe special needs, and will have those the rest of his life. And so Pierce is a recipient of Medicaid that our state provides. Most people don't know this. Texas is the 49th out of 50th state to raise a special needs kid in, meaning it is the next to last worst state to raise a kid in. And that's because funding is terrible, services are terrible, all the above is terrible. And I think if you ask the average Texan, they'd go, well, hold on. That doesn't make sense to me, right? Well, that's where you start colliding faith and politics and belief system and humanity. That's where everything starts to collide, right? It gets real messy, real fast, and you can have some interesting discussions with people. But our state does not deliver to those that are most vulnerable well at all. And knowing that what my wife and I have to fight on a daily basis, man, my heart breaks for the single mom out there that's trying to work two jobs, and all she's trying to do is get this paperwork filled out correctly. Because quote or not quote, direct experience, if you don't fill it out correctly, all of a sudden you wake up one day and your kid doesn't have any Medicaid at all. And then you get to fight that battle again. And so I sit there and yes, it's a bigger healthcare issue, it's a bigger government funding issue, all this kind of stuff. But I think we as a country, definitely as Texas, but we as a country don't do a good job of taking care of the least of these. And so for me, my bone is I pick with there. I'm like, man, we have an opportunity as I believe the greatest nation that's ever existed to deliver for the least of these, and we do anything but do that. And so especially in Texas, I think we're one of the greatest states that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a little biased there. Our
Yeah.
dead
Yeah. I
gummit,
love
our economy is
Texas.
like what fourth and what are it's massive. It's
Yeah.
massive. And
Yeah.
here we are. We can't provide adequate funding for these families to be able to take care of their children. Now, I get that there's abusers of it. I get that the system's not simple. So I don't want any emails about that. I get it. It's complicated. It's a nasty mess. But at the end of the day, some things are just black and white. Some things are just black and white. And so I would say the state of Texas and Medicaid are the things that drive me crazy currently.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. That sits heavy on my heart, and yeah, man. And like you said, not everybody's in the same positions either, and like from a larger life perspective either. So I I I feel your pain, my friend. I'm sorry you've had to deal with that. Um, but so final question, 10 words or less, bringing it back around to service. What should people start doing in service?
Love people.
Okay. What should people stop doing in service?
I would say they should stop making assumptions about people. Right. And we all do it. We all do it. This is not we all do it. We all walk up to a customer thinking, X, Y, and Z about this person, right? Here at Digger, I'll give you a perfect example. I always walk up thinking the person's mad at me for some reason. Why are you mad at me? Right. And so I would say we stop making assumptions about people. That will allow us to start with loving people.
Hmm, I love it. How can our viewers follow what you're doing?
Yeah, digworldtx.com. Our Instagram is digworldtx. Stay tuned. Please stay tuned in the next couple months. Big things coming. Also, if you're out there and you want to buy a franchise, shoot us an email or you can email me, Jacob at digworldtx.com. We'd love to. We're about to have a new website roll out in the next week or so that will have a link where you can request info on a franchise. But in the meantime, shoot me an email. We'd love to bring a Digworld to your market.
Fantastic, man. Looking forward to seeing you guys everywhere. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, Jacob. Sincerely appreciate it, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. An honor as always. Thank you.
All right. On behalf of Proclaim, and again with thanks to Jacob Robinson, I'm Ben Wiggins, and thanks for joining us on Service First. We'll see you on the next one.